Yo, what's going on, everyone? It is Baze here, and today I'm here to bring you another Mythic Plus guide. This time we'll be covering Tazavesh streets. So, as soon as you get into the dungeon, there'll be a little RP, and then you'll have the mini boss with 4 ads. The mini boss just does group wide pulse damage. It lasts for 3 seconds and it ticks 1 second. And then the other guys throw out mini grenades, and they're just a swirly on the ground. You just dodge them. And they also have a baton ability where they're basically buffing their own attack. You can purge that, so you'll want to do that. And then after that, you will enter the dungeon and you will get into your first pull. So the first pull here is pretty big. The main thing you need to worry about is kicking any bolt casts that go off. The Armored Overseer cast a Splicer, which is a rotating beam that you do not want to get hit by. It leaves a dot on you. And then the other ads will throw out mini swirlies. You just dodge those. And CC the ads as well. And the other thing is the Armored Overseer will do a smash-like mechanic. So if the tank is not in range, it'll hit any melee that is in range or anyone that is in range, and it'll just instantly kill you. So other than that, you pretty much just CC and kick everything else when possible, but the main thing you need to kick are the bolt cast. Now the next ad here is a mini boss again. The 2 mechanics he does are a pulse, like the ad out front. It's 3 seconds again, it's not avoidable. And then he also casts Rift Blast, which just spawn rifts, you just dodge them. It's pretty straightforward. Now the first fight of this dungeon is Zo'phex. Zo'phex will cast 2 weapons that rotate in a swirly-like effect. You don't want to stand in them. They will put a bleed on you while you're inside of them. And then the second mechanic is he will cast a frontal. You just want to dodge that. The third thing he will do is make it so that he will throw your weapon out in the distance. You have to go and find it, pick it up, and you basically can't do anything while your weapon is off of you. And the last mechanic that you need to know for this fight is that he will put you in a cage. You want to run far away, as pretty much as far away as you can safely. And you need to rely on everyone else in your party to get broken out of it. If you do not get broken out in time, you will die. Also, you want to make sure when you're breaking out your friend that you are not in front of the boss at all, because he will be doing like a frontal effect. It's really short in terms of how close you have to be to the boss, but you just want to make sure you're not in front of the boss during that, like directly in front of the boss. I think it's like 10 feet, but either way, just make sure you're not in front of the boss while he's doing that. And also, while you are in the cage, you will also be taking massive damage, so make sure you pop a defensive during this time as well if you have one. To the first boss, you will be greeted with another mini boss named Zo'phex. I think that's how you pronounce it. He basically makes it so that he cannot leave this ring around him, and he also has a rotating beam. Again, like I mentioned previously on the other ad, you do not want to get hit by this beam. So the way you do this is you tank the boss in the middle, and then as soon as you cast that beam, the tank should drag the boss away from the beam, and you're tethered to this boss, so you cannot run outside of the ring at all. And the next ad are these 2 hounds, and all you do here is you literally just kick the hounds and dodge their frontal like cone effect. It's pretty straightforward for this pack. There's not too much to mention here. So after the Charhounds, you will have a Dire Horn and you'll have multiple Nightclaws. The Dire Horn does a frontal charge, so anyone caught in this will be stunned. And then he will also do a 8-yard AoE. The other thing is the Nightclaws, and they will just do a dash, and they will put a bleed on whoever they dash onto. So it's just a healing check pretty much. It's a pretty chill pull, honestly, at least on a 14. I'm sure on a hierarchy this will hurt a lot, so just make sure you use it offensive during the AoE, and you should be fine. The second boss in this dungeon is a 3 boss fight. So the first boss will phase at 40%, and the second boss will phase at 40%, and each time they phase, the other boss will come down. So the first boss does a 20-yard AoE, you just run out of it. He will also grip you in as well for the 20-yard AoE, so you just run away. And the second thing he does is he spawns these orbs in 2 sets. So the first set will come down, it'll reach about halfway, and then the second set will come down. So basically how you'll do this is the first set will come out, you'll go into free area where there's no blue balls coming down, and then the second set will come down. So you'll just wait for the first set to burst, and then you run into that free area. And then at 40%, the second boss will come down. The way the second boss works is you will get a gluttony cast on you. So this little blue effect you see around my character, it will bounce to the next closest person. During that, 2 other people will get a circle around them. It can be dispelled. So you either want to dispel one or both, if possible. And during this second cast, the boss will spawn blue orbs, which you can suck with the gluttony buff. So you just want to make sure you suck up as many as possible because you will get a damage amp during this. And then during this fight, when the boss reaches 40%, the third ad will spawn, or third boss. And the third boss has a few mechanics as well. One, the boss will do a whirlwind effect where it'll spin in circles and it'll suck in the entire group. And then the second mechanic is it will root someone and throw them in like a jail, so it'll chain you and you can't move. So you want to make sure you're in a good position and there's no orbs coming towards you because you will die. You can break free of it with any movement effects, so feel free to use those as well. And that is pretty much the entire fight. It's just rinse and repeat. And the pack after the second boss is in the mailroom, and it is a pretty massive pull. So the ads you need to focus on here are the defective sorters. They do a 3-yard AoE. You just dodge it. They also open cages as well that have pets inside them. They do various things like stuns, for example. So you'll want to stun this cast so that it doesn't go off. The second ad you need to worry about is the post worker. It does a stacking bleed and a tank buster as well. And the third ad you need to worry about is the overloaded male elemental. It does a random target hit, and it also casts spam filter, which is a 50% DR on themselves. You can purge this. I'm pretty sure a mage can steal it as well. And then you can also just kick it so it never goes off. And after the male elementals die, you get a 50% haste buff bubble on the ground. It also increases the haste of the enemies as well, so you want to make sure there's no enemies in there. The third boss of this dungeon is the Postmaster. The first mechanic the Postmaster will do is a group soak. And the second mechanic will be at 100 energy. The boss will spawn unstable goods. So all you'll need to do is pick them up and throw them into the active mail sorter. You can tell which one this is because it'll change from red to yellow. And then when it's active, it'll go from yellow to blue. So you can get ahead of the game by just seeing which one will switch to yellow. As you can see, the other ones are red. And then the other mechanic the boss will do is they'll throw out blue piles of liquid. All you have to do is soak those. All they do is take up room through the fight. So it's not really too punishing if you miss it. However, a good, I believe, can go onto them. So you will risk taking damage at a higher key and possibly dying. And then the last mechanic the boss does is a group-wide swirly effect, where he does a whirlwind and he sucks everyone into it and does pulsing damage. So it's just a healing check. And besides that, it's just rinse and repeat. After you kill the Postmaster, you will go to this area, and it's basically a trade mini game. And you'll be greeted with an Overseer. The Overseer just puts 3 circles on people. You just spread. And then he also does a tank hit as well. Besides that, the gimmick of this area is you're going to speak to the NPC, sorry, and it'll start a minigame. It'll give you a piece of cloth, a weapon, an artifact of some sort, some kind of bones, a gem, various different goodies. And you'll take that goodie to the matching vendor that has those goods. So, for example, if you get silk, you'll take it to the cloth vendor. If you get bones or a skull, you'll take it to the skull vendor right here. If you get a weapon, you'll take it to the weapons vendor, etc. You get the idea. And then each time you deposit that, a group of ads will spawn, so you'll either kick or CC them. You just burn them down. None of the ads in this were too crazy or really anything, at least on a 14. I mean, I can see here there's really nothing happening. And they kind of insta-die, and you get another overseer here as well. Again, you just spread for that. So then after you do this, I think it's 3 times, might be 4, you'll get the password to enter the 4th boss fight. The way this boss fight works is there will be 5 instruments. Every player just picks up one. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. Preferably, in my opinion, you want to put the range on the drums. Besides that, there will be 3 ads that spawn initially. There will be a hyperlight bolt you want to kick, and suppression as well you want to make sure you kick. There will also be a menacing shout cast, which does physical damage and interrupts spell casting for 6 seconds. The security slam will also chunk the tank. And finally, the ads will enrage when they hit 100 energy. So the gimmick of this fight is during or throughout the fight, you will have these little white notes that spawn, and all you do is you press your extra action button, and you make sure you hit all those notes. Each instrument has different looking notes. So for example, mine was the saxophone, and I just had notes spawn straight in a line. But if you get the front one, which I believe is a trumpet or might be a microphone, it does 3 in like a triangle formation. So all you'll do is stand in the middle and you just press your extra action button, and it'll pop all of the notes. So when you pop all the notes, you get a 25% haste, damage, and healing buff. And then after you've killed all the ads, you'll have to repeat this 3 times to get your max stacks. And finally, the boss will spawn. So the way the boss works is it pretty much, so it does the hyperbolt cast, and it does the menacing shout. And the third thing that it does is suppression spark, which pulls in players. And after 6 seconds, there'll be a 5-yard circle around you, as you can see here. You want to make sure you are not stacking with this, because it will chunk you if you do. And the boss also has a damage check, so it'll put a shield around itself. During this, you will have the opportunity to maintain your buff, so it's a pretty easy damage check. You shouldn't have any issues with it. However, if someone dies and you cannot meet this damage check, it will be a wipe. The boss also casts a frontal cone in the same direction, so you just want to be careful. As you'll see here, the boss has a shield in front of him. Make sure you're not standing in that. As you can see, there's a frontal cast going off after that. So any ranged players that might happen to be in the way, you will die. So you just want to make sure that when you see that frontal shield looking thing, that you are not standing on that side of the boss, because any damage you're doing from that angle will basically be null and void. And that's pretty... Oh, and you also just dodge these green swirly things coming out. Other than that, it's rinse and repeat, and you just... It's a pretty free fight, honestly. There's not much to wipe to here. So lastly, we will head to the final boss. I just wanted to show this part here. You can skip this mini boss before the final boss. I'm not sure if Blizzard will patch this. Usually they don't like when things like that occur. So I'm sure they'll probably figure out a way to patch it and force you to kill the mini boss. And lastly, we have the boss Zo'Azami. So the gimmick of this fight is there will be 6 teleporter pads. 6 teleporter pads. There'll be 2 triangle, 2 square, and 2 circle. And so the idea is you will use these teleporters to avoid getting hit by mechanics. So throughout this fight, the boss will throw a growing circle. He'll throw it just at a random location, so you just have to pay attention. As you can see here, there's one right there. He throws it right here. I use square to teleport safely into the circle, because if you get hit by this beam, it gives you a 10-second dot. So you want to make sure you don't get hit by that. The boss also does Quick Blade. This is a tank mechanic basically, but if you get caught in it, it'll also leave a dot on you as well. And the next thing you need to worry about is double kick technique. You have to kick this twice in order to stop it. If you fail to do so, it'll hurl blades at all players, inflicting fire damage every second for 10 seconds. And the last thing I want to note here is at 60%, the boss will cut off half of the room. And at 40%, the boss will cut off another half. So it'll be at 60%, it'll be half the room. And then at 40%, there'll be 40% of the room left. Or a quarter of the room, sorry. And that is pretty much it. You're pretty much just using the teleporters to teleport safely into the area that the ring is expanding from. And that is the entire dungeon. If you found this guide useful, please leave a like or a comment. I'll be trying to upload the rest of the dungeons before Friday, this upcoming Friday. And I also stream on Twitch if you want to stop by and say hello. I stream pretty much anytime after 7 p.m. So, yeah. Let me know if you guys like these guides. If so, I'll keep making them.